Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to explore the history of oil in the Arabian Peninsula. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest videos. In the heart of the Arabian desert, where endless dunes stretch as far as the eye can see, and the winds scour the faces of weary travelers, few could have imagined that beneath this barren land lay a vast treasure that would change the course of history. The discovery of oil in the Arabian Peninsula was not a mere geological event. It was a defining turning point that transformed the lives of its people, lifting them from simple communities reliant on herding and pearl diving into modern states standing at the forefront of the global economy. The story of oil in Arabia is not merely one of wealth, fields, and companies. It is a human, political, and economic saga that spanned the 20th century and redrew the very map of the world. Early signs before discovery. For centuries, the inhabitants of Arabia were aware of oil in its most primitive form. They observed the presence of a black, sticky substance known as bitumen or tar, seeping naturally from the ground in certain areas. Sailors used it to waterproof their boats, and at times it was employed as a water-resistant sealant. Yet, in the minds of early Arabs, this dark substance was never imagined to be a sign of an immense hidden wealth beneath their feet. European travelers and explorers who passed through the region in the 19th century, particularly the British, took note of these phenomena. By then, oil had already become the lifeblood of modern industry, following the invention of steam engines and new means of transport. Any sign of its presence in the desert immediately aroused their interest. The dawn of Western interest. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, global competition for new energy resources was intensifying. Britain, France, and the United States, then the great colonial powers, were vying for dominance. With the growing importance of naval and air fleets, oil quickly surpassed coal as the most strategic fuel. It was hardly surprising that their eyes turned toward the Arabian Gulf and the wider peninsula. Geological formation suggested similarities with Iran and Iraq, both of which had already entered the oil age. Global oil companies soon dispatched geological surveys to the Arabian desert. Harsh and unforgiving, the environment offered little comfort or infrastructure. But the determination to find large reserves capable of fueling the industrial world kept the companies pressing forward. Bahrain, the first spark, 1932. The first commercial oil discovery in the Gulf came in Bahrain in 1932. Standard Oil of California, SoCal, successfully struck oil at Jabal Dukhan, proving beyond doubt that the region was rich in black gold. This breakthrough ignited a rush of enthusiasm among American and British companies, eager to search for oil in the rest of Arabia, most notably in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. Saudi Arabia, Dammam Well No. 7, 1938. Perhaps the most legendary chapter in Arabian oil history was written in Saudi Arabia. In 1933, King Abdulaziz Al Saud signed a concession agreement with the Standard Oil of California, granting it the right to explore in the eastern province. Soon, American teams arrived in the desert with their equipment, beginning the search at Dammam. The early years was marked by frustration. The first wells yielded little to no commercial oil, and the company nearly abandoned the venture. Yet, one geologist, Max Steinecke, remained adamant, convinced the desert concealed a vast secret. He urged the team to persist. In March 1938, Dammam well number 7 finally burst forth with abundant oil. Later known as the Prosperity Well, it marked more than just an industrial discovery. It was the moment Saudi Arabia was reborn as a rising global power. Kuwait and the Burgan Field, 1938. The same year, oil was discovered in Kuwait's Burgan Field, which would become one of the largest oil fields in the world. The impact was immediate and profound. Kuwait transitioned rapidly from a nation reliant on pearl diving and maritime trade into one of the wealthiest oil exporters. Qatar and Abu Dhabi, the later discoveries. Not long after, the rest of the Gulf joined the oil era. In Qatar, oil was struck in the Dukhan field in 1940. Abu Dhabi followed in the 1950s with discoveries that cemented its future as one of the key players in the industry. By mid-century, nearly every Gulf state had become part of the oil-producing world. Transformations from Bedouin life to modernity. The discovery of oil reshaped Arabian societies in unmatched ways. Economically, oil revenues flowed into state treasuries, enabling the construction of modern infrastructure, roads, airports, ports, and vast housing projects. Socially, life shifted dramatically from nomadic traditions to modern urban living, with revolutionary changes in education, healthcare, and standards of living. Politically, the Gulf states emerged as pivotal players on the world stage, their oil granting them strategic influence far beyond their borders. Oil as a strategic weapon. Oil proved to be more than wealth. It became a tool of power. In the October War of 1973, Gulf states led by Saudi Arabia imposed an oil embargo on nations supporting Israel. The result was a global energy crisis and soaring prices, demonstrating the Arabian oil could alter the balance of international power. OPEC and the Gulf's global voice. In 1960, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, was founded, with Gulf states playing a central role. The organization sought to unify petroleum policies and secure fair oil prices. Over time, OPEC became a critical platform through which producing countries asserted their interests against major oil companies and industrial nations. Social and cultural shifts. Oil wealth reshaped not only cities and economies, but also culture and society. Modern education spread rapidly. Local press and media began to flourish. Standards of living rose to unmatched levels. Bedouin population migrated into booming new cities. Yet, this rapid transformation brought its own challenges: cultural shifts, generational divides, and identity struggles. Still, it ultimately forced a new identity for the region. Conclusion. The story of oil in the Arabian Peninsula is one of transformation, from barren sand to the center of global decision-making. From Jabal al-Dukhan in Bahrain to the prosperity well in Dammam, from Burgan in Kuwait to Dukhan in Qatar, these discoveries became the lifeline of the region. Oil ceased to be just a substance extracted from beneath the earth. It became woven into the very political, economic, and social identity of Arabia. And today, more than 8 decades after the first discovery, black gold continues to shape the destiny of the region, even as the world increasingly turns its gaze toward alternative energy.